Check, check. Haha. Motherfucker. Check, check. Haha. Motherfucker. Alright. So now we got an echo I gotta fix. Almost there. Almost there. I don't know why it was doing that. Check. Nope, still 2. Let's get rid of that. Check, check. Alright. Mute that one. I don't. Yep, still echo. Mute YouTube. We've just. Yeah, YouTube is muted. YouTube is muted. There we go. Let's see if that works. Check. All right, there we go. Jesus! Of all the dumb shit. All right, I apologize. Now, my first word was check, and my second or third word was motherfucker. So, anyways, so for some reason there's a little bit of a delay, and that kind of sucks because I like to be, pretty real time with you. Yeah. So, let me show you what I got going on. Turns out, not everybody has a clean cooling system. Some people have oil in their coolant and things like that. And silicone hose is not very friendly to oil, it turns out. So I used the lack of silicone hose availability and all the plants shutting down as an opportunity to have a new custom hose made for the cooling mods. So let me get one. So it's rubber. It's rubber. It's reinforced with fiber, like the factory heater core lines are. It's got a nice little 90 on it, so you can put it around the back of the head, put to the heater core line for the GDs and for the GRs and VAs. It just a little bend like that and gets it out of the way, or even this way if you wanted to put it towards the line. It also helps it stay away from the steering column and that kind of stuff. So this is a new hose. It'd be more resistant to the low level of oil contamination some people have in their coolant, but also better in appearance, and it won't swell up and do weird shit over time. So this is what I'm using now. It even says GDT on the front. Yes, same price. Same price. I did not raise the price for these. Boy, the lighting still sucks ass though, doesn't it? I had all the lights on, all the stuff on over there, but these darn blinds behind me. Such a beautiful day today. All right. Let's see if that helps. Look at this hair. Isn't that getting stupid? All right, so yeah. Mods are going to be the same price. I'm at home right now. Clearly, I'm at home. Actually, what I'm doing, I'm making cooling mods. So I get my instructions, I get my hose, I get my tees, I get my fittings, I get the hose clamps that my wife bagged up individually. She spends hours bagging up thousands and thousands of hose clamps. She's the bomb. She's the best. And she's really good at doing this stuff, because I am really bad at doing menial, tedious tasks like this. This shit drives me crazy. But she'll sit here and just put on one of her reality TV shows, or This Is Us, or Million Little Things, or whatever cry show is on for the day. And she'll spend hours just putting these in little baggies for you guys. And for that, I am eternally grateful, because she's freaking awesome. So I got a bucket of them over there. And now I'm just going to sit here today. I'm going to be making, hopefully, we'll banging about 100 of these out today. They take a little bit longer with the new hose because they're not straight anymore. They're bent, and so they're harder to get in the sleeve. You got to, like, fuck with it. So it takes a lot longer. But I'm excited for that. A little improvement. Plus, I haven't sold a cooling mod since June. COVID shut down the plants. And COVID shut down all the plants. And it really impacted my ability to make cooling mods. And yes, nice wife tune. The wife is tuned. I tuned her up well. At least I try to. Hi, kitty. This is Trude. So, anyways, let me tell you about Mishimoto and my complaints with them today. I bought that 15 STI. And it's red with white wheels, and it has red Mishimoto lug nuts on it. Now, I'm not a big fan of the Mishi lug nuts or aluminum lug nuts in general. I prefer steel lug nut. And I'm not a big fan of white wheels, but the car's got white wheels on it, and it's red. But regardless of that, I can't take them off the car because the socket is missing. I don't know if the guy didn't give it to me, or if it went missing, or what. The plus key? You mean the V key? Anyways, so I can't get the wheels off. And, well, it snowed today, and it has R888s on it. So it's not something that's easy to drive in the snow because they're extra wide and extra smooth. And I want to be able to drive it. And I want to be able to do the brakes. I want to be able to do everything else that is required just by taking your fucking wheels off. But their socket, or their locking lug nut, the one that's on there, is a 7-point. And I cannot find a 7-point in the right size. So I sent Mishimoto an email. Well, first I called them. And the guy said, send me some pictures. Or send pictures to support@mishimoto.com showing that you own, these lug nuts and they're on the car. And then tell us what you need, and we'll see about selling you the socket. I'm like, sweet, let's do that. So I send them pictures, and I explain. I'm going to read this to you because I don't know how they... It's irritating. Let me put it that way. It's fucking irritating. So I'm going to read you my email because I thought it was pretty... Sorry. They do that whole support ticket thing, so the one you send isn't in the chain. So I just said, good evening. I purchased a 2015 STI with Mishimoto locking lug nuts on it. However, the car didn't come with a special socket to get them off. Winter is here, and I need to get my snow tires on. May I please purchase a socket for these lug nuts? I included pictures of the car showing the lug nuts. And I get a response in a relatively timely fashion. I sent the email yesterday at 4 p.m. Right? So I didn't expect anything back yesterday, but they responded. They responded at 6 p.m. Thank you for the email. We would be happy to help with replacements. I thought that was weird. At first, I was like, help with replacements. I didn't ask for replacements. Would you be able to provide me a copy of your original receipt before we discuss pricing on a replacement key or lug nuts? So clearly the dude didn't read the fucking email, right? I bought a car with these on them. It doesn't have a socket. Okay, give me the receipt for the fucking lug nuts. Like, you fucking idiot. Like, you clearly didn't read the fucking email. So I responded, right away and said I purchased a car that had them on there. I did not buy them. I just want to get a socket so I get my tires off, my summer tires off, and my snow tires on. Okay, and then 16 hours later, nothing. I sent another one, hey, it snowed this morning. Can you help me or not? Nothing. And finally, just a little while ago, I was like, you know what? Never mind. I'm going to buy a set wholesale, use the socket to take my wheels off, and then return the set. You guys suck. I'll be sure to put my terrible experience with customer service on my YouTube channel. Now, was I slightly impatient? Yes. And had the gentleman even read the fucking email the first time, I would have definitely been more patient. But from the immediate response from this douchebag, showed he never even read it. He didn't even read the words that were in the email. And then I sent a response immediately, and then nothing for was it 16 hours, 17 hours, or something like that. So I don't know if it's just one dumbass running customer service over there or what. And I mean, I don't want fucking aluminum lug nuts on my car. Like, plain and simple, I don't want aluminum lug nuts. And I definitely don't want their fucking aluminum lug nuts on my car. I just want to get them off the car. And yeah, they don't read their fucking emails very good. Holy shit, my hair's long. I'm getting a haircut tomorrow. Tomorrow's my haircut day. It's so long. Yeah, so I'm really irritated with that. Now, I've been meaning to do this other thing for a while, and I've been putting it off, but I think now's a great time to do it. I have with me right now a Garrett air-to-water intercooler core, and I have the Mishimoto copy of that Garrett air-to-water intercooler core. So, let me grab them, and let me show you the difference. All right. First off, what you will notice is that in a Mishimoto bag, I put the Garrett core. Because the Garrett one didn't come with a freaking bag. The Mishimoto one did. But I cared more about the Garrett one than the Mishi one. So, first thing, I'm going to pull out actually the Mishi one and show you. Both cores are about the same size. They're rated for about the same horsepower, and they're advertised being about the same size. Like the Mishimoto is actually supposed to be a 1/10 of an inch long. I think this is 3x7 by 3x7 by 11 and change, and this one is 3x8 by 3x8 and 11 and change. Now, what that resulted by having an extra 1/10 of an inch is that the Mishimoto one has one more channel in it. It has one more channel, one more flow path on the water side. So that would be advantage Mishi. However, it's bigger. So is it really an advantage? It's just bigger, right? Now, what I do notice immediately looking at these cores is that there is a striking difference in the fin density of the cores. On the water side, the channel size is similar. The Mishi one is shorter. I don't know if you can see the length of them. The Mishi one has a bigger separator between the channels, and it occupies more of the space, making the available channel width shorter than the Garrett one. The Garrett's got that bead on it. So if you're looking at the one with the weld bead, that's the Garrett. And the one without the weld bead is the Mishi. So the channel is a little shorter on the Mishimoto. The construction is similar in the, if you look at the fins, this has got a wavy pattern to it. The Garrett one also has a wavy pattern to it. Now, I wish this camera was better, but if you look really close, you can see there in the top corner, There's a lot more stuff in there. And you can't see a whole lot of light through it. Some little specks of light. This has got a lot more layers to the fins on the water channel. Now that's just the water channel. No, this is bar and plate construction. This is technically bar and plate. The Garrett one, looks like it's a form of tube and fin, honestly, but it's a very square construction. It's not. What I'm trying to say. It doesn't have the big blocks like this guy does, but it's not round tubes like most tube and fin. Okay, so again, we'll look here. Where's the camera? Right there. All right. I mean, like, there's a straight through channel right there. You see it's got a lot fewer fins on the water path. Now, the same can be said for the air path. Now, the air path, it isn't bad, right? It isn't like eBay core bad, where you have like this one wavy fin, you can see straight through it with all the light. You can still see through it, but there are still multiple layers of fins in there, right, in this. So it's got decent fin density in it. But the Garrett has got a much higher fin density in it. I mean, just from the get-go, you can see it's got way more fins per unit length on it. These fins, you see that the fins are like split and cut, and I don't know how to describe it, like a scalloped fin. It's really nice. What the Mishimoto does have on the Garrett, though, is that the Mishimoto's construction is cleaner. It's cleaner, and it looks like they paid more attention to detail on the Mishi one. As far as putting them together is concerned, you'll see like some of these fins are bent. Like this channel got squished when they put it together. You see I got some relatively straight fins, and I got this one where the fins are bent. Like that channel got squished when they put it together. And on the other side, they're straight. So this one, they clamped it really tight when they welded it, and they kind of damaged it a little bit. I mean, it's just a little pinched. And it's just the tiniest bit. And it's welded. Well, this one here isn't welded. This one's bonded, right? You don't see any welds anywhere. It's basically glued together. I prefer the weld. Personally, I prefer the welding. It's cool that they're bonded and all of that. But the thing about adhesives or certain types of bonding is that they are prone to failure or release with the introduction of chemicals and heat cycles. And I don't know, I don't have any quantitative data that could tell you how often or if these come apart or not, but just from personal experience standpoint with similar heat exchangers, I'd take the welded one personally. So the other thing I dislike about this Mishi core here, the fuck. That pisses me off. Let me tell you why that pisses me off. It pisses me off because this is not a complete solution. This is just a fucking core. Now, when I get done with this, and I weld end tanks on this, and I do, plumb it up, and I get it installed, I'm going to have fucking Mishimoto on it, right? And it's going to look like they built the intercooler. Which they didn't. They built the core. They provided a core, and I built the intercooler. But now it's going to look like they built the intercooler. So now I'm going to have my car go, yeah, I made that. And it's going to have Mishimoto on it. And they're going to like, well, that's a Mishimoto intercooler on it. Or when I put pictures online, it's going to say Mishimoto. And then go to Mishimoto's website and go, where's this intercooler for this car? I can't find this intercooler. Where the, hey guys, I see this intercooler in your car. Where is it? And they're like, oh, we don't have that. We just sell the core, right? But they're going to take away from my construction or my design or my fitment or my kit or whatever by having their fucking name on it gigantic. Now if they had like a tiny Mishi in the corner or something, You know, that would make sense to me. That would seem logical. Garrett, smooth. This is just packing material. This will clean right off, wipe right off. It's got a couple scratches on it though, like so there's no bag on it. Little scratches. They have engraving on this side. Just for the lot number, the part number is on here. And now, obviously, I could put the Mishi and put that on the bottom side, right? That could be the bottom. But then they put this huge stamp right here on the side opposite their name. So now I have to either decide, do I want this ugly stamp to wreck the front of it, or do I want this ugly fucking logo to wreck the front of it, right? Take credit for my shit or look like shit. Like, those are my two options from the Mishi core. And that pisses me off a bunch, actually. This one, you know what? They engraved and stamped all on the same side, giving me one clean, beautiful side to use. Thank you, Garrett, for being considerate and not being a bunch of fucking cucks. I'm looking at that tube and fin comment, and I'm looking at it. I mean, it is a tube, but it's not a round tube. It's square like bar and plate. It's even got hard edges on it. Now, this isn't air to air, right? This is air to water. It's thin like a tube and fin, but it's boxy like a bar and plate. This one is clearly just plates. So, I mean, you can look at this and see that what's bonded, there's a plate with a spacer and a plate. So they literally have a flat plate that they put their wavy fins on top of, a spacer on either side, and another plate on there, and they bond it together. So, I mean, there's a spacer bar and a plate. So, I mean, this is about as bar as plate as it gets here. It's definitely a plate construction for sure. Not a tube. This one, I can't tell if these are caps or not. Or if they're plates or if it's a square tube or what. The weld is hiding the junction between. No, it's a plate. I see it now. So in the middle there's a divider here too. That divider goes between the plates. So that's actually a plate, a divider, and then the fin. So this is technically also bar and plate. And like I said, it's boxy like a bar and plate. It's a square edge. There isn't a round edge on here. So this is also a bar and plate. I don't see any questions coming in, which is not typical. So hopefully chat's working, because typically there's a lot more questions coming in by this point. So have you guys seen my first playlist that I did? I did a 3-day race car build. That was a low helicopter. I live next to the airport, so I get some cool shit. I get some firefighting planes that loaded with retardant barely get off the runway and just come tearing over my house because I'm like totally in line with the runway. And I dig it. I think it's cool as shit. And my house is actually relatively soundproof. Even the loudest planes, you can hear them, and it's not a big deal. And I love planes and being a pilot and everything too. So it's a lot of fun. I really dig it. Am I buying a new socket? Like, yeah, I am. But you know, I have wholesale, so I'm just buying them wholesale, and then I'll take my fucking wheels off, and I'll put the socket back in the box, and I'll ship them back and return them. I don't see any other point. It's not like I want to keep them. It's not like I need the socket for anything. And I definitely don't want to spend $75 on fucking aluminum lug nuts. I got no use for aluminum lug nuts. Like, bleh. No thanks. No thanks. So, fuck that. Anyway, so what I was saying is the reason I brought that up is that in my first video series, I built a car in 3 days using spare parts from my garage. And one of those spare parts was a block, and it was a sleeve block with a half melted piston and a bunch of other shit. And I basically hacked together this build over a couple days before the Northwest Streetcar Shootout, or whatever it was called, and built a 10-second car in 3 days out of spare parts. In that, the whole basis for that build was I was calling out Josh Bader. At the time, Josh Bader worked at A&R, and he was just talking shit continuously about me. And I never met the guy. Didn't even know the guy. Didn't know who the fuck he was. And he was talking shit about Tier 1 and whatever. And he was going around and just being a douchebag. And so in one thing online, he and I were yelling at each other, and I told him I could build a car out of spare parts in my garage that go faster than any of his fucking cars. And I did. I was beating his times by over a second using spare shit in my garage. And so I can't help but think that my video series where I called him out and his wife got super pissed and everybody got fucking pissed off at me, tried to confront me at one of the meets like they wanted to fight, but it was me and like him and 6 people. It was super fair. I think that was one of the motivating factors for him doing his bigger build. Now, he bounced around from shop to shop. He later went to HMS, and then he went somewhere else, and then he tried to start some other fucking company with some other people, and then he started another company. Then he was working out of his garage, and now I hear he's got a dyno and some other shit too. So good for him. That's good that he's finally official and legit. I hear he finally got a business license too. So that's good. Good for him. Unfortunately, the shit talking still hasn't stopped. I don't know why. I wish it would, but maybe he just needs someone to fight with. I don't know. But anyways, the point is that initial 3-day build was pretty funny. It was a good time. I did some stupid, ridiculous shit in it, and the things that I did to that poor engine were really surprising. And to have it, run 10s. Now, it ran a 10.7 at 137 miles an hour. 137 is a lot faster than 10.7, but I had regular street tires on it. The car was full trim as I drove it to school. I had my college parking pass, still hanging from my fucking window, my rear detector and shit I had to take down. But, it was as I drove it on the street every day, and it did 10.7, and it was burning all through first gear. The track was not prepped. The second day they had no VHT down. It was getting pretty slippery. It was a little glassy, and so my 6-foot time was not very good. And with all 4 tires burning, you're not going to get a very good 60-foot time. That being said, 137 is smoking. That's low 10s, high 9s mile per hour if the car had actually been able to get out of the hole and everything. And I did that at 520 wheel horsepower on the dyno at Tier 1. 525. My injector duty cycle was 118% on ID2000s because my fuel pumps were not keeping up and the car was leaning out. I was on 22 pounds of boost, and that was it. On a custom turbo that I got from Blauck back in 2011, maybe something like that. A custom rotated GT35. It's a regular GT35R with a billet wheel in it that Blauck did. Supposedly it flows like 82 pounds or something. All I know is the car fucking rips. with that turbo on it. And I did it. Like I said, 22 pounds of boost is all I had to run. Made 500 something wheel and I ran a 137 trap speed. Which brings me to claims. There are so many people out there who make these ridiculous claims of 800 horsepower on stock engines and, 600 horsepower to the wheels and all that shit. And then they say that their trap speeds totally back up their power numbers and give you a trap speed of like 115 or 120. And they're like, yeah, man, like this, backs up my 500 horsepower claim. What? I mean, 520 horsepower does 137. And they're claiming like 600 and 800 horsepower to run a 130 or 120 something. And that fucking drives me crazy. And the problem is that people don't know. They sit there and the guy goes, well, I backed it up because I put down the trap speed. And everyone's like, oh, okay. Okay, neat. Because they don't fucking know that's still bullshit. That it takes way less power to do that trap speed than they're fucking claiming. Way less power. But they don't know. So if the guy just goes, well, yeah, this never backs it up. And they're like, oh, okay, cool. That's neat. Right? Like, then they believe them. Because they haven't gone through and done either math themselves or looked into it and that kind of stuff to actually be able to call the bullshit out that they thought was bullshit. But the guy is so confident, oh, well, this number backs it up. So, yeah, obviously I'm doing what I say I'm doing. Well, you know what? You're not. You're not. And that's really frustrating as somebody who tries to run an honorable business, that tells the truth, to see guys claiming 800 horsepower runs a 130-something trap. No. It only takes like 520. Had an Evo at Turn-In Concepts, the same dyno that's at Tier 1, the exact same dyno, the Dyno Dynamics Dyno Tech dyno. The Evo did 575 wheel horsepower on our dyno. 575. The guy was like, holy shit, this dyno reads low. And we're like, yeah, that's just the way, it's an accurate number. He drives to the Dyno Jet down the street, puts down 725 wheel. Still my tune. Nothing changed. He drove it there, got his 725 off the Dyno Jet, went to the track, ran a 9.6 or 9.7, one or the other. 575 wheel, ran like I think it was 9.6. Right? That's actual horsepower, and those are actual times. Not 725. You don't need 725 to run a 9.6. For real numbers, you only need the 575. But the internet and dyno jets have got everyone so confused as to what it takes to actually accomplish, a goal. I got guys going, oh, I need 450 wheel horsepower on my top mount intercooler. Like, yeah, dude, that ain't happening. And like, well, I saw from this guy, he did it. Well, that dude's full of shit. Like, I'm sorry. That dude's full of shit. Right? That's the STI. That's the internet internet horsepower numbers, the false bragging rights. Garris, old tech at the shop, the old fabricator, he used to joke around and tell people, when they're like, well, how come the dyno only made 320 or says 320? Well, that's all it made. I'm like, well, I was, I thought it would make more. And he would say, hey, man, the easiest way to make more horsepower, lie about it. That's what he would tell everybody. Just lie about it. Like, everybody else is doing it, so fuck it. If you want to make more horsepower, lie about it. That's the easiest way to make more horsepower. It was a great ongoing joke, and sometimes I miss Garris because he was so funny. I mean, everybody else is, right? Everybody else is. So it's fucking annoying. I just wanted to tell you guys, you 13 people that are here, 15 people that are here, that almost most of the horsepower claims on the internet are fucking bullshit. And if it says virtual dyno or road dyno, it's guaranteed bullshit. And then you get the idiots that say, oh, well, road tuning is better than dyno tuning. Those are motherfuckers that just can't afford a dyno, is what that boils down to. So don't buy any of that bullshit. The virtual dyno is not accurate. It's not better. It's what the braggers need and the liars need to puff up their ego and that kind of shit. It's bullshit. I hate that shit. Did I say shit enough? Try to say it again. Is Matt in here? I don't see Matt. Are you in here, Matt? I figured you would say something. I'm wearing your fucking shirt, dude. Let me text him. The fuck? Someone say. Mm-hmm. All right. I just text him. I said, the fuck? I'm here streamer for you, and you're not here. And I spelled your wrong. God damn it. All right. Your notification. I'm sorry about it. I don't know why. I mean, I did pump 2 out back to back because the first one failed. The camera was not working for some reason. I must have Chrome blocked from using the camera and the mic. And so I had to go through OBS. And even then I had problems because for some reason the microphone was muted. So I had to go into the system settings and then properties and then unmute it and then get it going. Even though under the microphone testing and everything else, it showed signals. So it was all whack. Windows are just whack. And so I had to pop up a second stream to get it fixed. And I apologize if you didn't get notifications. I don't get notifications. So do you know who Dr. Disrespect is? Dr. Disrespect is the guy's real name is Guy Beam. And he's got a character, Dr. Disrespect, and he streams video games, okay? The dude's fucking hilarious. And sometimes I watch his shit, and I subscribe to him. I subscribe to him, and I pay the $5 a month thing to support him because I think he's fucking hilarious. He's a good time. I don't get notifications. I'm giving him $5 a month, right? Plus I'm subscribed, ringing the bell, all that shit. I'm part of the club, and I don't get fucking notifications. So I don't know how anyone gets any notifications from YouTube. Because I've done everything I can do, and I never get them either. So I don't know what's up with YouTube. I got friends that are never in my stream, and they say, well, I didn't get a notification. And they've subscribed and ring the bell and everything else, and they don't get any notifications either. So I apologize. Nothing I can fucking do about it. I don't know why it doesn't work, but it doesn't fucking work, unfortunately. So, dude, the doc, the 2-time. In fact, he was on right here next to me, and I muted it so that you guys wouldn't have to listen to Doc screaming at noobs while he's playing Halo Infinite. Yeah. Hey, Matt finally shut up. I know, man. No noties. It's bullshit. I hate it. Okay, so there's a few things I want to talk about. I showed the new cooling mod, hose. And now it's rubber, EDPM or EPDM. I forget which one it is. Rubber hose, the same kind of stuff that your heater core is made out of. It's the right size for GDs. I got the GDT on there. I said I wanted it to say GDT Race Technology, and they're like, that's too many letters. How about just GDT? And I was like, all right, fine, GDT it is. So I got that 1993, 1994 2-time blockbuster video game superstar. Hold on a second. What's up? How's it going? Yeah, take a look at it. Make sure it's torqued properly. Take it off if you can. Look at it. Make sure it's not cracked or broken or some shit. Make sure it's oriented the right direction. Make sure it's torqued properly by hand, not with a ratchet, or not with a impact and all of that. Because we're just trying to figure out where the noise is coming from. Now, obviously, also see if you can see any other source of why the carbon buildup is so bad on that thing. Because it's like 5,000 miles or something. So see if you can find any of that shit. Okay.
I know I checked that when we put it back together last time because of carbon buildup.
Okay. Yeah, so just, maybe even replace the knock sensor. I hate throwing parts of stuff, but he's like, if it's easy to do, please do it, because, he wants to figure out why it's doing all that funky shit. I don't like throwing parts and spending their money if they don't need it. But I mean, it is an old one, and they do degrade over time. You know, I can't guarantee that that'll fix it, but it's a decent first step.
Okay. So you just do that.
I mean, maybe. I mean, look at it. I mean, if it looks shiny, black, and brand new, then yes. If it's corroded and nasty and everything else, then replace it. And then make sure it's done by VIN because they do change. You know? Yeah. Well, just double check, make sure it's not cracked. Pull it off and take a close look at it. And make sure it's facing the right direction because it's supposed to face a certain direction and be torqued to, I think, 18 foot-pounds or something like that. Sure. In the little pocket. Yeah. Yeah. I mean, I'm not convinced that's the problem because that's a legacy issue. Some legacies have that problem, but it's definitely the very first step in figuring out why it does that. Right. Now, what clutch is in that? Okay. I mean, you had the engine out. All right. It's not dual mass anymore, though, right? Well, that's not a very good answer. Okay. All right. Most people switch over to a legacy clutch by that point, and a WRX clutch, 06 era clutch in those cars. And I'm just trying to figure out if it was picking up some noise from that since it's no longer dual mass or what. So, okay. That's it for me. Yeah. Yep. Okay. I mean, it'd be more than a second. Yeah. Did you guys get any flex or any ethanol for it? Okay. I mean, it needs ethanol. Okay. See ya. Yep. All right. Sorry about that. Why the 90? Well, there's a 90 anyways on the GDs. It comes out the back of the head, and we go straight up to the hose. So you would cut this to fit in a GD. And then for the GRs, just having a little bit of angle on there helps keep the long bend. Sometimes they rub on the steering rack if the guy doesn't cut if you don't cut your heater hose like quite the right spot. I mean, there's no line, right? There's no like line that says cut here on your heater hose. So if guys don't cut it quite at the right spot, then they can kind of push into the steering column or steering shaft and it can rub on it. And we don't want that. So I said, fuck, we'll throw a little 90 on it. And I mean, those guys will have to pull it a smidge like that to get it to connect. But at least the yeah. Okay. Yeah. So, anyways, that's what's available now. The other thing is, I was looking at because this guy just messaged Kendrick here. Kendrick sent me an email last night asking about his 209. His 209 failed, or he thinks it failed. He got a cylinder 4 misfire on it, and he's got an AOS on it and the cooling mod and really nothing else. And I think he said around 20,000 miles on it. So he got a cylinder 4 misfire, and he took it to the dealership, and they saw this, and they're like, "Fuck you," basically is what they said. Let me get this again. Hello. Okay, what's up? Mm-hmm. No. No. Hold on. Okay, what's up? Tomorrow. Alrighty. Yeah, man. See ya. Bye. All right. Fucking fly. All right. So there were some questions. Have I packaged it? Yes. Yes. It is quite a bit more difficult. Matt, it is definitely quite more difficult. And Satsun, yes. The reason it's out of stock is not because of the redesign, it's because the silicone hose manufacturers closed up due to COVID. So all the places that made silicone hose were closed for a couple months, and that put them behind tremendously. I was told in June or July that the soonest I would have hose would be November. And then I messaged them in October, and they said it's probably going to be December, it might even be January. So it was irritating, obviously. So that's why they're out of stock, because I haven't been able to make any since June or July. Now, because of that, I decided to do the redesign and make them out of rubber, because I clearly had time. And so I had them made out of rubber, so they'll be more durable. Now, rubber versus silicone. Rubber seals better. Seals better than silicone, so that's nice. Rubber is slightly more tolerant to the shit in the coolant system than the silicone is. Rubber is not as tolerant to heat as silicone is. Silicone handle way more heat than rubber. Now, that being said, this isn't in a hot spot. It's not by the coolant, it's not by the exhaust or anything like that, right? So the rubber is there's gives and takes, for both of them. But if you get too much oil combined with the coolant, it can piss the silicone off. Obviously, rubber doesn't like oil either, but it does a little better when it's suspended in the coolant than it does when it's not. So that was why the redesign. The 90, I explained that already. The GD guys already use 90 anyways. Typically, we just bend the silicone hose up. The silicone hose I used had a really tight turn radius, and it was really good for that. Connor says, how's it going? It's going all right, man. Kendrick, I addressed your thing there. I want to talk about that a little bit more here in a second. Yeah, bubbling coolant in the overflow. Now, depending on when that happens, that can happen anytime. And if you have a leak will cause it to bubble in the overflow. So what will happen is, let's say you got a slight coolant leak somewhere. When the system cools off, it can suck in some air through wherever the leak may be. And that air will go to the top of the system, and then as it warms up, the coolant expands and will push the air in the overflow, and you'll see bubbling in the overflow. So it doesn't necessarily mean that anything's wrong other than you got a small leak somewhere. Now, if you have a leak at the cooling mod, then that could be, if it's at the threads, that means that the sealant wasn't applied thoroughly enough, the head wasn't dry enough, or it wasn't allowed to seal or to set up long enough before you did it. And so that's what I wanted to address. Other mods have aluminum crush washers that you can put on here. And you can still do that with mine as well. You can put the aluminum crush washer on here. The reason I didn't do the crush washer on this is because the factory one doesn't have a crush washer on it. The factory one has sealant. And so I wanted this to be similar to a direct swap with the factory one. You pull it out, you put the sealant just like the factory one, and you stick it in. Right? That is why I did it that way. But that doesn't mean that you can't run a crush washer. If you want to run one, go for it. And I've been thinking about maybe tossing one in the kit anyway, just so people can have it, because they cost like 20 cents or some shit. So I figured that they can do it. That being said, I see you say you had a shop put it on. A lot of shops fuck it up, man. So I don't know what shop you put it on. I've seen a lot put on, even hooked to the wrong hoses, even though my instructions clearly say the black metal hose is the one they connect to. They go to the wrong one. They put it the wrong way. I've seen a lot of bad installs. And what it really boils down to is people are too fucking lazy to read instructions. It's bad. I've had some people call, hey, I got a question about installing this. I'm like, did you read the instructions? No. We'll start there. Because I've sold 12,000 of these things. At least 12,000 of these things. And if I sat there and answered 12,000 phone calls on how to install, there would be a problem. I would not be able to do anything else but answer phone calls. Like, I made the instructions for a reason. So unfortunately, a lot of guys do it. I recommend thread sealant, actual Loctite thread sealant. But then I also say that you can potentially use the 1 hour set grays and blacks, the ones they use for like sealing the block. Those work too, but you really have to be careful about getting the head clean and dry. Otherwise, sealant doesn't do it. Because if you got water or oil on the sealing surface and you put the seal in there, it's not going to work. It's got to be dry and clean. The thread sealant is a slightly more tolerant than the gasket maker stuff, than the black and the gray, but it's still both. Yeah, black and gray, either one. Oh, but for the thread sealant, what fucking color is it? I think it's red or green. Not thread locker, thread sealant. So, if you use gasket maker, then you can use black or gray. They got the 1 hour. My instructions have the part numbers on it. So my instructions are on the website. They have the part numbers for the sealants in the instructions. They say specifically which ones I recommend, and it's got the part numbers. So I don't have it memorized, but it's in the instructions. Again, like I tell everybody, read the instructions. Like, it's in there. I have to modify them now, obviously, because I have the new hose. I also have to modify them because at the time I did them, I used to put a Oetiker clamp on here to permanently seal it on here. And I did that because that spot's hard to reach with a wrench, and I wanted to make people could, like, use the hose and like thread it in a little bit and get it on there. And it ended up being more difficult because guys couldn't find crow's feet to tighten them up with. So I said, fuck it. I started including 4 worm drives with them instead. And then you can use a 1-inch socket to screw it in and then put this on there with a clamp. But it's a pain in the ass when you get a clamp in there to try and turn it with a wrench, whether it's an 8 mil that you use or a flathead. It's still a pain in the dick to get in there and tighten because it's really close to the head and the frame rail and all that shit. And so I wanted to avoid that difficulty of tightening a hose clamp by having the Oetiker on there for you. But then it became a whole new challenge of getting the darn thing attached to the head. So I said, screw it. I just went with 4 worms, let the guys fight with it and that kind of stuff. But unfortunately, I shipped them like this in the silicone hose with no clamp on there. And some people didn't put a clamp on it. Like, it was clearly no clamp. But they installed it without putting a clamp on there. I don't know if they saw the old directions, saw that there was a thing here. They didn't fucking put a clamp on it. And it blew off. I saw a guy online go, watch out, man, your cooling mod might explode. Mine exploded. And I'm like, excuse me? Yeah, the clamp failed. Luckily, there's an extra clamp in the kit. And I'm like, there are no extra clamps in the kit. There's only the clamps that you need. So if you have an extra clamp, you didn't use it. And you didn't put it on right here. So I've had a bunch of those people doing that and a bunch of other stuff. So I got to rewrite the instructions, especially now I said now they got the new hose. To help. I mean, they might not even fucking read them anyways. I don't even know why I provide them sometimes because like a lot of people don't read them. But let's see. You guys been talking about the mods and stuff. Connor says I should have YouTube set up my account so we can donate money to the channel and invest it towards new parts that you design. Yes, Connor. I actually have that feature set up. I just haven't hit the go button on it. I know that our society is moving towards that kind of thing. I mean, heck, as it is, I pay 3 streamers, a month anyways. So I get it and stuff. I just don't. I don't know. I'm obviously I'm not asking for money for free because I'm providing a service. Hopefully I provide you with a few laughs. And holy fuck, this fly is bugging me. And hopefully provide you guys with some laughs and some education and that kind of stuff. So I know it's not free, but at the same time, I have a really hard time with that. And Chase and a bunch of my friends will tell you, like, I'm the last guy to ask for help. And it's a source of contention because a lot of them say, dude, I want to help you. What can you do to help? And I'm like, I'm good. So I do need to do that. And I do need to stop being so proud and let people help. Really. So, no, you're right. You're totally right. You're totally right. My pride can sometimes fuck with me. So, Let's see. Kendrick, you had another same bubbly and no heat. Yeah, that sucks. Be more. You've had 3 of my mods. Right on. I appreciate it. New cooling mod availability. Okay, so this new one. I got 900 hoses. I have 1,000 fittings, I think. I only have like 450 T's right now. But I got 500 that's supposed to be here tomorrow. And I got 10,000 clamps. So as long as the T's show up tomorrow, I have enough materials to do 900 kits. That being said, I'm back ordered over 900 kits. I sent 100 to IAG today. I have no idea how far behind IAG is on their orders. I sent them 100 today, and the next 100 is going to them as well because I owe them 250. So I should be doing this while I'm talking to you guys, honestly. Let me get some hoses. So I got to get them. So I got to get them another 100, and we're gonna do that. The wife and I, I'm supposed to do that today, and I have wasted like 4 hours today not building kits when I should have been. Trying to take care of emails and trying to take care of a lot of other stuff. Anyways, what was I saying? Oh yeah, so IAG needs to get a bunch. So they should have a bunch of stock. They also have a big Black Friday sale going on, and they said they wanted to make sure they had them in inventory for their Black Friday sale. So that means you might get them for a few bucks off, or as part of a package, or something. If you go through IAG. Then after that, I have about 300 that I owe Rally Sport. Well, I say owe, but I haven't paid for them yet. But I have about 300 that I need to get Rally Sport. Tier 1 doesn't have any right now. But depending on how I do with my orders and getting things met, I could have some there. Depending on how many I make in the next few days, I could potentially put a few more on the website. But it's kind of, I think it's a little fucked up and unethical for me to deny sales to people that sell them for me, wholesale, just so I can have some on my own site, you know. Now, obviously, I make more money. I make more money if I sell them individually because, you know, like, instead of me providing that 30% to the wholesaler, I get the extra 30% myself. And I get a little more work. I got to package it up individually and send it out. But, you know, I'd much rather, honestly, package 900 and sell 900 off my website than sell 900 through the wholesalers, you know. But obviously, I mean, it might not be obvious to everybody. You know, when you go through a wholesaler, you get exposure, right? Real exposure, and not just exposure, but availability. The customers, the end users, go to Rally Sport Direct and buy some stuff, and they might have a sale saying, you know, free shipping at $500 or something like that. And then they're like, well, I'm $75 from free shipping. What else can I get? Oh, look, cooling mod, $89. Perfect, right? And so I technically get a sale that I wouldn't have gotten otherwise because it was on Rally Sport Direct, you know, or IAG or Import Image Racing or SMY or Penguin or, you know, shoot, all the other people, you know, that buy them and sell them. So as much as I would like to keep them on my site all the time and have them in stock, my site should be the first one to be out of stock if I'm going to be fair with my wholesalers. You know, if I'm going to be, you know, not a dickbag. They're selling my product, right? And they're helping me. And so if I put myself first all the time and kind of a douchebag to them with the stuff, and that's not cool. And I don't like it to be that way. So I definitely want to make sure that I keep my wholesalers' inventory up as well as I can, and then my inventory is secondary to that. I'm also not one of those guys that has sales on parts and sells them for less than he sells to his wholesalers. So a lot of companies do that, and that is some messed up shit. On their own website, they'll sell something for either the same price they sell their wholesalers or less. They'll have these fucking ridiculous sales, which is a total slap in the face to anyone who buys your product in bulk and then tries to sell it. That's absolutely unacceptable. And but yeah, people do that shit. Businesses do that stuff, and I won't be that guy. So you won't see big sales on my site unless it's like a group buy or a buy-in or a pre-order for something new, or like maybe a Black Friday or something like that. Otherwise, all the sales will happen at other places, just because I'm not trying to undercut the retail places, and I'm not trying to devalue the inventory they have when they think that they're going to get 25 to 30% on something, and then I start selling it and knocking their margin down to 15%. Well, that takes away their profit margins, and you know they have expenses. They have to pay people. They got to package stuff. They got a website to run. They have, you know, credit card fees to pay because PayPal took 3.5%. I just sent, you know, I'm sending 200 to IAG. I sent 100 today and 200. You can do the math and figure out how much 200 is at a 25% margin. That's a lot of freaking money. And then to think that PayPal, who I billed through, took 3.5% of that. That's a lot of cash. A lot of fucking cash. It took almost $400 in fees on my money. It's dumb. So I think I need to find another processing method. I have Stripe, but I think they only work on the online web store. So I got to figure out how I can leverage that to my advantage so that I'm not paying $400 just to transfer money from one account to another. That's absolutely stupid. All right, so let's see. I use an all 16s to tighten mine up. Oh, man. Was it right-handed or left-handed? That could be the issue. Just kidding. Big turbo, no tune, go boom. Phase head gaskets all over again. It was phase 1 head gaskets, right? Oh, no, you're right. Phase 2, right? The initial phase 2 with the single head cam. I mean, phase 1s did it too, though. Pretty bad. To help you build new parts of the community, these skills teach and improve the core community. So a little money here and there would be nice for the channel. No, you're right. And I'd be very appreciative. I mean, I appreciate you guys as it is. I mean, there's, 18 of you here, 20 of you here that are hanging out, maybe 24 now. And I'm just talking about stuff, life and parts and all that kind of stuff, and you're all hanging out. So I'm grateful that you guys are here. And I appreciate it. And I like to help. And if you haven't been to the Discord yet, you should go to the Discord. If you don't know what it is, you should download it. It's just a program. People can communicate. They can share things. They can do stuff. It's really cool. It's free to download and to use. There's no ads or none of that bullshit going on. It's a great way to communicate, and I have total control of my page. I can make threads and delete threads and put in educational sections, which I have. I have educational section. That part's subscription based because I got to make some money teaching, right? But if you haven't gone to the Discord channel, check it out. Come say hi. We got guys talking about home theater stuff. We got guys doing car builds. We got We got meme channels. We got some funny shit. We got some funny political stuff from both sides of the table. You know, it's a good time. I don't want people fighting each other, though, so I'll just curb that shit because no one's here to fight. We're here to have a good time and learn stuff and help each other with our cars and that kind of thing. So there's not much tolerance for negativity. There's, you know, a slight little joke or jab is one thing, and we'll allow that. But if it gets dumb, then I just delete it. Like, there's no point. We're there for the betterment of our lives and shit. So, yeah, Discord's a good time. And his voice, you know, I can pop into a voice. If someone has questions, you know, I'll pop into a voice channel and explain. I can share a screen and show, you know, graphs and charts and, you know, lessons, provide links, pictures, and videos, and that kind of stuff to support the topic that we're talking about. So it's whoops, that was going. So it's good. It's convenient. You can have it on your phone as an app. You can have it on your PC. Plus gaming. I love the game. So I mean, obviously I watch the doc. I would be watching it right now, like I said, if I wasn't streaming. And maybe I should. Maybe I should turn them on in the background a little bit. But you know, we goof off, play games, Counter-Strike, and the Hunt Showdown, or, you know, whatever, all kinds of stuff. Halo Infinite now, I guess, is the main jam, and you know, Rocket League, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. I made Tarkov channel for it, and what's comical is the same time I made the fucking channel, I stopped playing that bunk ass game. So I thought that was pretty funny. I also do, like, the guys in the Discord get a sneak peek at things that I'm working on. You know, what my next product is or what ideas I've had. I'll share my SolidWorks screen and, you know, show how to 3D model. Anyways, lots of things like that. So I think I've babbled on long enough about that. Damper testing. So yesterday, I finally got the last part I needed for the red car. I finally got it. So, oh yeah, Battlefield 2042 too, yeah. I finally got the last part needed for the red car. So the red car is, I was going to say done, but then I realized I didn't have the freaking lug nut wrench or socket yet. So it's not completely done because I still need to get, you know, the wheels swapped out. But with that being said, it's done. Whew, it's a lot of fittings in that box. So now I just need to put the M-Tron in it and get it to where it'll idle and rev, because that's all I need to do to test it. Idle and rev, and then start the testing on the dampers. So that will be coming up soon. Obviously, right now, I have to finish these orders because I haven't sold a cooling mod, like I said, since June. And my income has really taken a hit because I bought all the parts for, you know, like almost 1,000 pieces, and then all of a sudden, nothing. Hoses dried up. So I had a bunch of money laid out in inventory that I couldn't sell. So I have to get these. I have a lot of people that have been very patient, and obviously the longer I take to replenish the cooling mod orders, the more sales I lose to the copycats. And I don't like losing sales to copycats because fuck those guys. And the more chance I have of the people that wholesale them just making their own kit. You know what I mean? Like Modern Automotive Performance, they sell stuff, they sell my stuff, and they make their own product line. So if they can't get my cooling mods, they at one point they might just say fuck it, introducing the Modern Automotive Performance cooling mod. You know, that kind of thing. So it's the kind of thing that happens in this industry. If you can't satisfy the need, then somebody else will. And if the need is for a cheaper, shittier version of it, then you can definitely find that on the internet, because those guys definitely exist. Yeah. Have I tried Zelle? I haven't tried Zelle more than once. I don't like Zelle for sending money to people because there's no protections. Obviously, if I'm taking a payment from somebody, I'm in love with Zelle because there's no fees, right? But if that person doesn't have a good feeling, and they're uncomfortable about it, well, then that sucks. I don't want them to feel uncomfortable about it. Because there's literally no protections. There's no refunds or returns or buyer security or none of that shit. So I don't. I haven't used it. I used it once, and I almost got scammed on it. And the only reason that I was able to get my shit is because I took a plane to Florida and confronted the motherfuckers that had my money. You want to surprise the company, show up at their door and say, where's my shit that you're 6 months late getting me? So, all right. I can cover the Mishimoto thing again a little later if you want, or you can watch the replay. I don't know what IRC is. It's the Millennials IRC. I don't know what that is. I remember ICQ. Are you talking about ICQ? Is that what you're referring to? I did a Mishimoto radiator and it sucked. Yes. Dude, their fans are terrible. Their fans and radiator, that is, if you're looking to overheat, put a Mishimoto radiator with their fans on it. No problem. That is the quickest way to the second quickest way. No, that's the quickest way. I think their radiator with their fans would overheat faster than a factory radiator with no fans. It's that bad. Their radiator is junk. The welding is atrocious. I've had some of them where the discharge pipe on the radiator is 30% blocked by welding slag that's fallen into the radiator. It's so bad. Their stuff is bad. It fits bad. It doesn't cool very well. The fin density is low. Yeah, it's junk. So their radiators are absolute trash. They're so bad that I've told people that I don't know if I want to tune your car because it's got this radiator on it. It's so bad. I've had guys whose cars are overheating on the dyno between poles or during a pole. They'll overheat during a pole with the fan blowing right on it in 60-degree weather. And then they'll put the factory setup on there. No problems. So it was they're junk. They're junk. I used Mishimoto on my BMW once for the intercooler. It fit all right. I needed something. I was broke as fuck. And I guess that's where Mishimoto fits in. If you're broke as fuck, it's great. And my intercooler got damaged in my 335, and I just did not have the money to buy a good intercooler. And I didn't want to put another factory one in there because they're $1,200 or $1,500 or something stupid for a factory one. And I didn't need an upgraded one. I just needed something that was in its place. And the Mishimoto fit the bill. Plus, we got a wholesale account with them, so I got a new intercooler core for my 335i for $400 or something like that, and it's what I needed at the time. And honestly, it did not impress me with performance. The car was slower than it was with a good one that worked, a factory one, but it's what I had. It's all I could do at the time. So. Ezekiel, I have your product in my 2020 STI. Great product. Thanks, man. I appreciate it. And hopefully this new version of it is even better. When the second shipment of hoses shows up, so I made, here, money expended, right? Money out. I paid for 3,000 hoses. So, paid for 3,000 hoses. If they ever show up, then when they do, I'll be pretty close to having all my back orders filled. I'll also put the hoses up on the website. They'll be on the website so you can buy individually. So if somebody wanted to upgrade their hose from the silicone one, if they got bad or rubber, then I'll have it available. I'm trying to think of a way of allowing prior customers a discounted rate on the hose. I got to figure out a method if I can implement that somehow. If I could figure out a way of doing that, maybe I mass email people, you know, or I don't know. I'm trying to figure out how to do it with my shipping system. But I like a way to allow people that have already purchased the mod to get the hose at a lower price than what I would sell it for otherwise. So that if somebody develops a problem or just doesn't like the silicone look and they'd rather go for something that looks more OEM or whatever, then I would like to be able to do that for them. 4 is a 5 until my car gets fixed. That's funny. 2014 makes me sad. They didn't really work on the recoil and then Age of Empire 4 kick. Yeah, so I paid big money for the 2042 so I could, you know, play the pre-release thing or whatever the hell it was, the beta, whatever. And I was really, really hoping for something good because after Battlefield 1, I was like, I'm never buying another fucking Battlefield product ever again. They're so bad. Like, every single one of them is buggy as shit. You know, like 3 and 4 were practically unplayable upon release. The Levolutions of, like, Siege of Shanghai would crash the entire server. You know, to the point where, like, people were in chat when someone blew up, like, one of the legs of the building. Everyone's like, stop! Don't do it! You're going to crash the server! Don't collapse the building! You're going to make the whole server crash! You know, like, it was so bad that people on both teams were trying to stop others on their own team from causing the Levolution. So, that, and then Battlefield 1. Battlefield 1 was beautiful. It was beautiful. The graphics were stunning, but the game sucked. The gameplay was fucking trash. The weapons sucked. It sucked, man. It was beautiful to look at, but that was it. The flight characteristics of all the vehicles was absolutely trash. Yeah, Battlefield 1 was a total letdown. And so after that, I was like, I am never buying another Battlefield again. And I played the beta of Battlefield 5, and I'm like, nope. And then they got all crazy woke with all their shit, and I just like, no, I'm not doing that shit anymore. And so I bypassed 5 because fuck Battlefield. And then 2042 came out, and I saw this cool features, and my friends were like, oh, we're all getting it. And I was like, all right, fine, I'll get it. Why not? You know. And then I got it, played the pre-release, and I was like, you motherfuckers, you got me again. They got me again. I fell for it again. Not happy with it. Hopefully they improve it. I mean, typically by the 4th or 5th month that it's been released, they've improved enough to where you can play it. So we'll see. But yeah, I'm with you. It makes me sad. I thought they were going to do cool shit with it, and it just isn't super great. Matt Martin, CSF with OEM fans. CSF's a badass radiator. It's a good radiator. OEM fans are great fans. The crank pulleys available. Crank pulleys have been available for months. It's the dampers that are not available yet. So the pulleys themselves are absolutely available. They're on the website. I've got they're gold. This is a pre-production one here that's not anodized yet, the silver one. But the regular one's the light enough pulley for cars that retain the AC. That, and then the dry sump one for the dry sump system I'm building, but also for adaptation to the daily system and the other low mount systems. There's a couple of things you got to do to make it work, but that's what this one's for. So it'll be good for my dry sump system when I finish that, and for adapting to the dailies and that kind of stuff. Now, Daily was very insistent that I had a damper. So But I made it. So here's one that's anodized gold. This is the final one for the regular light enough pulley. They're cool. I like them. But the dry sump one is for this. What's cool about these is that it's actually the same thread pitch as our time belts in our Subarus. It's the same 8 millimeter thread pitch. Not that we would use this for a time belt or anything, but it is the same thread pitch as a time belt. Anyways, Daily, they use the 8 millimeter on most of their stuff, but for the Subaru one, they use a 5 millimeter because they drive the Subaru one off of a small pulley off the time belt. Because the pulley is so small, you can't put an 8 on there because the bend radius is too small. So I said, well, let's make an 8 and get a bigger pulley for the Daily pump. And they make them, and you can get them. So this works for the Daily pump. The cool thing is that the 8 mil is stronger than the 5 mil. So you can use a much narrower belt if you want. And you should, because this is pretty narrow. But you can use a much narrower belt to drive the Daily pump, just a larger diameter. And what's also cool about it is because it's a larger diameter, you have more continuous engagement of teeth, and you get even more strength out of that. Less chance of slip, and the horsepower is distributed among all the teeth in the belt that are in contact with it at once, right? So you have a much larger surface area that to distribute the load with. Boy, I have a hard time talking about this. Anyway, so I made the damper because Daily said you need to have a damper, otherwise you might break the springs or the screws in my pump. And I don't want to break. They use these tiny little screws that time their scavenging gear set. So I didn't want to break his stuff because that's a dick move. And I already had a damper in the works anyways, but he was just one of the other guys that pushed me towards getting the damper made sooner rather than later. So since the car is finally done, minus the wheels and tires, I'm going to start the testing of the damper really soon. And again, I just got to finish these back orders and get this stuff going because Daddy needs a paycheck. Let's just be honest, right? I need some fucking money. I need money so I can continue on with my projects. And the better way to do it than sell my own products. Kenneth asked, different old hose and the new hose. I've covered that a couple times, but obviously some people are showing up later, so I'll say it one more time. This one's rubber. The other one's silicone. This one's got a 90. The other one's straight. This just helps with fitment on GDs more and helps a little bit with fitment on GRs and VAs. I was going for... I asked actually about a pre-bent silicone one, but the problem with the silicone one is for a pre-bent, manufactured silicone one, they wanted to make the diameter too big. In fact, these rubber hose people want the diameter to be too big as well. And then it would be too big for the 10,000 GetaDomTune hose clamps I had made for the cooling mods. So they were like, oh no, we want to add another, like 1/16 of an inch or something to it. And I'm like, that won't work. Then my hose clamps won't fit. And I just got 10,000 of these motherfuckers made with GDT stamped on them and done a slightly larger size than you can get online. So normally it's a 12 to 22 millimeter clamp that used to come in the kits. And I had these made in 13 to 23. So I added a millimeter to the clamp in diameter so that it would fit more hoses and be easier to install, because guys were complaining that they had to back it off all the way to try and fit it over and didn't always get. Sometimes the clamp would pop and they got to fight it. And so I didn't want them to deal with that anymore. So I had these clamps custom made 1 millimeter larger in diameter to facilitate an easier install. And then the hose manufacturer like, well, we want to make the hose bigger. And I'm like, no, No, damn it! I just had 10,000 clamps made. I am not about to, throw those away. That's a lot of freaking money to get these clamps made. Beanies. Yes, beanies are available on the website. The beanies, however, I share the profit with those with Tier 1 because Chase is the one that made them. Chase made them for me because I said one day I wanted a beanie, and I was wearing the Turning Concepts beanies, and he was mad that I was always wearing somebody else's beanie, and he was like, "Well, we need to make something else because this sucks. Why are you repping their business when you're over here?" And I was like, "Well, you're right, but I like the way it fits." So he had the beanies made, and they're super comfy. I love them. I have them right there actually, my daily one, and hi, Dorothy. There's my cat. Spaz. Sorry. Obviously, you guys can't see it. I'm laughing at the noise as far as you know. But my cat just flipped out and went tearing around the corner. Which is so weird because she's an old cat and she doesn't usually do that stuff. She's like 14 or 15 years old now. And that's not normally her MO, but that was funny. What the fuck was I saying? Oh, the beanies. Yeah, so buy the beanies. Buy the beanies. I get like $2 from the beanie sale, if it's even that much. And Chase gets the rest because he paid for it all. And I want to support him too and help him be a part of the whole thing. So they're super comfy. I love mine. And you guys get yours. Is it big enough or is it too big, Aaron? I feel like they're just I like the ones that are really small. That like you can't pull over your eyes and you can barely pull over your ears. And the first time he made them way too big. He had them really long, and they were just too long for me because I like this one. This is the right length for me. I don't want to have to roll it up, and I don't want to have to do the Robin Hood. Like, I can do the Robin Hood here, like this, right? Where you can't even see that shit in the camera. I guess not. It's folded up. And so I don't want to have to do the Robin Hood when I need to do things. Hold on a second. Sorry. Trying to find more light so I can show you the Robin Hood, but I don't want to do the Robin Hood. I'm gonna wear mine tomorrow when I get my tune with JR. Oh, please do, because I will. I want to text him. I'll text him and give him shit about it. Maybe he'll text me about it. I don't know. We'll see. If anything, a little small. You like the tall ones with the knobs on top? You have fat head. So, yeah, it's not a loose fitting beanie, but does it pull down far enough is my question. And then my cam tool. For those that haven't seen that, my cam seal install tool. This thing is super cool. Everyone that gets one sends me a message or a video or a text that says, dude, this tool kicks ass. Like, you have made assembling my engine that much more enjoyable. Every single person. Like, they all love it. What's unique about it is the guide pin. This guide pin doesn't allow the tool to get off center with the camshaft and doesn't allow it to tip. So when you go to put the seal in, oftentimes if you have a regular one, a regular cam seal tool, you can kick it in a little bit and the seal might start to install crooked. This doesn't do that. This holds that seal perfectly square, 90 degrees, right in, and you barely got to do anything because this guide pin holds it. And there's a slight chamfer here, a little taper, see this taper? That centers on the taper that's on the end of the camshaft. If you look at your camshafts, you'll see there's a taper on the cam too. So this threads in, you just thread it by hand. You can do it by hand. It's quicker to do it by hand, but you can also use the tool if you so need to. I dropped it. You can use this if you want to thread in with that, but it's kind of difficult to thread in with this tool. But you slide it in, and if it gets stuck for some reason, like the taper gets too good, and you're like, oh, I can't undo it. That's what this is for too. It's got a hex on it. That's why I did the hex instead of a round. A round hole would have been way easier, let me tell you. It would have been so much easier. Broaching these hexes was a lot of fun, let me tell you. A machinist reminds me about how much fun he had doing 200 of these and making a custom broach rig to do it, using a log splitter of all things. Anyways, so you can use the tool to unscrew it from the cam if it gets stuck for some reason. But the best part about this is that it holds the tool exactly centered, and it does almost all the work. All you do is you screw this in, you put the seal over it, you slide this on, you center the seal, you just push it up against there, take your dead blow and go tap, tap, tap. Dead blow, not a metal hammer, use a dead blow. And it drives the seal in. Perfect depth, perfect angle, no drama at all. It just goes right in. It's super great. If you, Donald Trump approves, if you were to hit it with something metal, you'll pinch the end of this, and this won't be able to protrude out any. The people that have done that do not complain about it. Some of them prefer it that way. They prefer it not falling out this direction. They like it only going in the front. So if you find that maybe you don't want it to come out this way and you want to stay either here or protrude, you just hit it with a metal hammer and you'll pinch it down enough. Because this clearance here is 8/10, I think it was. It was either 8/10, 8/10,000ths of an inch. So it's really tight, and that's why there's no wobble on it. It was like 0.0013 degrees was the maximum amount of wobble you can get out of the tool on the shaft. So if you do want to limit the travel, you don't want it coming out the back, the first time you put a seal in, just use a metal hammer and hit it. One hit, it'll squish it down enough, and then this will slide, but it won't come out the backside. So that's an option that you have if you want to do it. I am about to offer a service for these where I can modify them to also work for a 4G63. The 4G uses the same thread pitch, it uses the same diameter seal, but the cam is bigger around, and so I have to come in here and machine this to fit the 4G as well. So with a little modification, this will work for a 4G and an EJ. And I need to test the VQ, but I think it even works on a VQ and VRs, but I got to verify that. So super handy, works for a lot of things so far that I've found. I will be doing one eventually once I sell more of these, because I still am way upside down on these guys. Once I sell more of these, then I'll probably do one for crankshaft and do one for single overhead cam. I don't think I'll do one for rear main, although rear mains are one of the hardest ones to get right. So maybe I'll do a rear main one. That's a big unit though. That's a big tool, and that would cost a lot of money with material. So we'll see. But if you like the idea of having one for rear main and for the front main, where the oil pump is, then buy this one and help me pay for them. That is a good way of doing that. If you haven't bought one of these, you haven't used one yet, talk to anybody that has. Anyone who's used this says it's the best cam seal install tool they've ever used in their life, and it's not by a small margin, it's by a large margin. So, if you ever put your cam seals in, get one of these, man. It saves you so much time, so much hassle, and so much headache. It's good. So I managed to knock down my viewership down to a third of what it was by talking about my cam seal tool. So that's fucking great. You bought your Cooler Mug import image. That's fine. They're a reputable seller. They will sometimes sell them less than MAP. And I sometimes get emails from people saying, hey, why is this shit so cheap? And they're not supposed to, and then I got to yell at them about it. I don't know if they're just malicious about it and do it intentionally, or if it's forgetfulness. I don't have enough evidence to point one way or the other, but a couple more infractions, and they might not be available through them anymore. So I hope that they don't keep doing that. That being said, I still get paid. It's not like they stiff me on my money or anything, right? They still pay for the products they sell. I am getting all ASF. ASF for oil pump seal, cam, and rear seal. What's ASF? Hello? What's his name? Hold on. What kind of car is it? Was it actual email or was it something else? Oh, yeah, it was a month ago, wasn't it? All right. Yeah. I knew what you meant. Yeah, I see it now. Yeah, it looks like I fucked that up. Well, he drove a long way, so as long as he's fine with me being a little late, then I'll head in and do it now. All right. See ya. Looks like I fucked something up. I was supposed to tune a car today, and I'm not at the shop. I told the guy that I would do it today, and I apparently forgot to put it on my schedule. I don't know if I was driving the time or what, but I'd take that up. They make seal tools for EJs based out of Colorado, huh? Phase 2. Oh, I see. So with them, they want you to use the cam gear bolt to pull it in? Interesting. Hey, if it works, it works. That's great. So they say no hammers, so you just you put it up to the seal and you turn the screw in to pull it in. think that would work. I don't think it would. Doesn't look like it would reduce rocking as much, but it would definitely keep you on center. So that's not a bad design at all. Yeah, I just saw it on the Import Image website. So yeah, that's cool. That's not a terrible design. Looks pretty good. I'm not a fan of using the bolt to drive it in. I don't like that. There's friction, from the head to the tool, and then I have the cam itself that's either attached. Yeah, I'm just saying that I'm inducing rotation into the engine that I'm in an area that I may or may not like. If your belt's not on yet, so you're just you could be, if it's out of time, right? Your belt's not in it. Otherwise, you couldn't get the cam seal on if the belt was. So that means the cam is free in the head. And with the cam being free in the head, if for some reason you had the engine at TDC and you didn't realize it, and you were turning it, and there was enough force that it popped open a valve or something, and you knocked into the piston, that'd be bad fucking news. Now, I don't know how much force it takes to draw it in. It might not be very much force at all, but that was one thing I did think about using something like that, drawing it onto there with the screw when I designed mine. But I didn't want to add the possibility that somebody was able to bend a valve or something by spinning the cam inappropriately, or there's a burr on the screw and then cause them to spin the cam or something like that. Mine, you still spin it, but you're not using the force of drawing the seal onto it, when you just thread it in the guideposts. Because you don't turn the cam on, you just thread in the guidepost freely, and it's only there to keep everything straight. You don't got to gronk or anything. That was my reasoning behind it, but that seems like a perfectly good tool. Probably pretty easy, probably pretty good to use without having to whack with the hammer. So I have to go. I have to go tune a gentleman's car that I told that I'd be there today. Apparently an email. I think I never saw a deposit, so maybe the lack of deposit is why I didn't put them on the schedule. And but regardless, I told the guy to be there, so it's my fault that I'm not there. So I'll be there in a half hour. It's a Legacy GT, nothing crazy done with it. I don't think. From when I talked to him about it, it's got a sleeve motor in it though, which I think was probably excessive for what he needed. But regardless, I gotta stop talking. I gotta go tuning. But thank you guys for stopping by. If you have any questions, feel free to email me, Dominic at GetaDomTune.com, or visit the website, GetaDomTune.com. Go to the shop, look up the my Discord channel under tuning or shop all and that kind of stuff. And then hit the link for that, and you get to the Discord channel, and you can shoot the shit with us. And if you want to learn some more tuning stuff, then you can pay for the subscription. Then I'll give you student status, include the student stuff and all that. It's super cheap. It's only $8 a month. I don't know of any educational service that does it for $8 a month and provides you with a relatively constant level of support like I do. And that's it. I think that's it. So have yourselves a good day. Thanks a bunch. Nobody has submitted anything for me for an outro yet, so I still have no outro. I need to get something, whether it's something I queue up here in OBS automatically or what. But I need something